If you're in here, hello. And we'll get to your comments. Hmm. How many of you in here? Just two? If you're in here, say hello. Wait, where is it? It's here. Uh, where is? There's no man of the match for this. That's for sure. Pretty disgraceful in general. Nothing to be proud of. My God, what a disgusting performance. What an absolutely disgraceful day. Oh my God. Talk about being fed up. Oh, what is this? All right. Should be a few more of you in here soon. Damn it. Just trying to get the link to retweet, just retweeting from all these accounts. But an absolutely terrible performance from Milan today in the Europa League against Roma. Just straight out the gate, Milan were getting outplayed by them. This had everything to do with morale, energy, just wanting it more. Milan looked completely lackadaisical. They didn't look invested in this match. And kudos to Roma and De Rossi for coming in so prepared to San Siro, beating a side that they haven't beaten in Milan in 7 years. I believe it was 2017 the last time. This is the first time that they've beaten Milan in general in the post-COVID era. This was 9 straight games that Milan did not lose to Roma. So this was a big one for them. I don't think Roma played the greatest of games, but they played well enough in the environment with the players that they had to get out this result. I mean, quite honestly, any Roma fan would have said they would take in a tie from this match. But the fact that they come away with a win, heading back to the Olimpico, which is an incredibly difficult place to play, is huge for them. It doesn't really matter if it's just a 1 goal lead because obviously Milan for sure could come back in this tie, but um, just really disappointing on all fronts from Milan. Seriously, not much that you could say. Didn't really love the substitutions from Pioli. Olivier Giroud stayed on for far too long. That chance that he hit off the crossbar was terrible. Chukwueze did so much just to get in there and involved. Um, but again, this is about preparation. This is about having your players prepared and ready to go. You destroy Lecce over the weekend, a team that was taking care of Roma fairly easily, and then Milan comes into this tie just looking flat. You're at home at San Siro on a European night. Doesn't really matter to me if it's Europa League or whoever the opponent is. Roma looked like the side that has more experience and actually wants to win. Milan, this is the first time in quite some time, I would say, where they just looked flat and disinterested from minute one. There's zero excuses. I don't really care about Roma scoring off a corner kick that was given by a phantom offside. That doesn't matter. Milan were ill prepared to defend that corner. Loftus Cheek just completely leaves Gianluca Mancini available aerially, and he scores because of it. This was as much credit as Roma deserves, and they do deserve all the credit in the world. I think this was more about how bad Milan were too. I mean, like I don't think you could point to a person here that would disagree with that sort of statement from either fan base. Um, Sabrina's in here. Hey, how are you? Absolutely disappointing, pathetic type of performance from Milan today. Just really upsetting. Hope you're well, Sabrina. Good to chat. George is in here. Gio, I mean, I think Leao and Pulisic today is just very disappointing, to be quite honest with you. Just both sides completely non-existent. Didn't even really get either players involved. And even then, you have to make yourself involved and available in a match like this. Is just they have to step up now and prove that they're the supposed top players in this second leg against Roma next week. I believe it's just next Thursday. So again, this Milan side, man, this is the type of stuff that wipes away a lot of the good. And almost every single cup competition for Milan has sort of gone this way. Milan have put themselves in a spot where it's advantageous for them to potentially make the final or even win a trophy. We're talking about Coppa Italia here. That performance against Atalanta was absolutely disgraceful. Well deserved to get eliminated from that one. And then this with Europa League, it's side against Roma that you notoriously outplay almost every single time, especially in recent years. You get outcoached, you get out hustled, outsmarted. I mean, Roma, it doesn't matter how they were approaching this game, the way that they were drawing these fouls and making Milan frustrated. Milan's attempts in this game, even, or 25-yard shots from Tijani Reinders from outside the box like this. These aren't efficient chances. These aren't chances that allow you to get back into a game or even go level. It just everything about it was disappointing. And ultimately, the biggest disappointment of all is Giroud missing that shot from point blank range. Like to not even have it on goal was terrible. And that is exactly why Roma deserved this win today. And they're very well positioned to advance to the next round. And again, to not even make the semifinals with this Milan squad and where Roma are currently within Serie A, the schedule that they have upcoming, it's laughable. It's laughable. And again, Roma's not a terrible side by any means. And Matt and I have been saying this that this tie was going to be difficult. But I am stunned by this performance today from Milan, specifically Milan's side. I wasn't surprised by how Roma played. I thought they would come out with this sort of energy, and especially after a win against Lazio in the derby. But to this performance by Milan, just absolutely disgraceful. To be quite honest with you. So a couple more comments in here. I mean, the subs were terrible. I don't even know what you mean by statement, though. If you could elaborate, George. Yeah, Claudio, I agree with this. This is very true. In most of these games, I think Pioli was naive to play the press so high. Yeah, I mean, this is what he does all the time, right? If you just counter against Milan, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna have a very good time. It's pretty funny how that goes when you play this side. Just genuinely laughable. Genuinely laughable. Not gonna lie, truly pathetic when he got Calabria. Did you honestly make Calabria, Steve? Come on. Calabria today was it's embarrassing. He's an embarrassing player. What are we talking about? No, no, like not to get on you, Steve, but like Calabria was just embarrassing. I don't see how that is true. I kind of get where you're coming from with Chuk Adley, silly yellow card. But Gabia and Chuk, I agree with you, but Calabria, no, no, he was getting embarrassed all day, all day. No, I don't think they do. I don't think they do. No, Leao's on a yellow, and he can't get suspended for the next game. And Pulisic, not a great performance. Chukwueze is playing well. It was the right sub. I like again, like Pulisic in these scenarios, like you have to take him off. With Leao, I get it as well, but this is what happens when you're just like coming out lifeless like this. Uh, what are we talking about? One of the best players on the pitch. What? What are you talking about? Davide Calabria, the same number two that we're all watching. I don't see it. Norbert, I'm appalled by these statements. One of the best players on the pitch is just, brother, excuse me? Come on now. Come on now. No way. Yeah, Philip, I agree with this. I think De Rossi completely outmanaged Pioli today. There's no doubt about it. Again, guys, if you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. So we'll talk about the terrible marking on Mancini's goal. The Loftus Cheek just terrible, aerially. Just missing Gianluca completely. The finish was just solid from him. Did everything that he was supposed to do, get himself free, get himself up in the air, separated from the defenders, and finishes the ball. Just a great job by him. So it's just very funny to me how that happens. Um, so yeah, I finally think that Milan have run their course. The Calabria did not play well. Stop it. Stop it. He stopped a clear goal. Dude. He had the one redeemable play, but the overall performance is not good enough. You could have one good play in a game, and that doesn't mean you played well. You could have a great moment, but in general, from minute one till he was done, Calabria was nothing special today at all. I don't see where these comments are coming from. I disagree, guys. I really don't get it. Um, I don't see how this. I mean, I do see how it could go well, but this was just a lifeless performance from Milan. And again, kudos to Roma. They completely deserve this. Now and Pulisic. I don't even know what to say. This was the worst performance from the both of them in a couple months here. Just really, especially Rafa. This was the worst performance in 2024 from him in what has been a very strong 2024 showing. But this is the match that like you're supposed to make a legacy at the club, and he didn't do it. Unfortunately, Pulisic didn't do it. Pulisic had some like plays where he's crossing the ball, but there was no one on the other end to receive it. So I don't even know how that happens. So it is what it is when it comes to that kind of stuff. Just really laughable when it comes to that. Yeah. So what are you supposed to do at the end of the day, right? Few more comments shuffling on in. I mean, Gattuso did pretty well for Milan. Who did we get embarrassed by? It was Arsenal. I mean, we got embarrassed by Arsenal that year after he tried turning them around. Theo comes to mind when taking a target. Theo was like, very lackadaisical. Not much to go off of. If defenders play high on Rafa, he does a poor job of finding space and making himself available. I think Milan just didn't even really possess the ball on certain chances. We really need this win so we can relax in the second leg because I don't trust teams' mentality. They're going to lose in the derby. It doesn't matter for that one. Derby's done for. It's like Inter's probably going to celebrate a Scudetto on Milan's head for that. You just hope it just doesn't happen against us. That's all. Okay. Let's see. Whoever should collaborate, play well this game. Nah, come on. Don't be like that. Give me an honest rating for Pioli. Oh, jeez, bro. It's just anything under 5. Players are just as bad. Yeah, Liverpool played their B lineup, got destroyed because of it. Could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. Yeah. Yeah, the only saving grace it was one. I mean, yeah. Why? It's not many saving graces here. Sorry, idiot Roma fans on Twitter. Oh my goodness, just fucking can't stand these people. Um, I mean, listen, Benacer just completely out of shape, and every facet in that area of life. I mean, it's just terrible. Um, what do we got here? Charlie Davies. Hope he doesn't say anything. Next match, we got Tamori and Puglia as the cam. Who knows? 25 million, bro. What? No, come on, 25. I think Pioli goes back to Lecce lineup for the next game against Roma. Probably. This is a good shot. It's a good shot. Very good chance. Very good chance that's what happens. Involved in this. There's no denying. There's no denying it. I did. I did, George. I won a lot of money because I bet UConn prior to the Sweet 16. I think we were just unlucky. I think we were just not very good. I appreciate your optimism, Pascal. Um, it, I he was bad, but like I'm not even here to like discuss refs. You know, like I think discussing refs after a really bad performance is just. I mean, it's a waste of time, in my opinion. Like I don't see the point in this. It's just a really, really weak performance from Milan, just in general, and that's the only thing that really matters. Um, it's just really silly to me. But yeah, oh well, right? Um, it's just it happens. We did waste a lot of chances, but the ref screwed us. Listen. Roma again. Even if the call is wrong, you have to defend. You have to be ready for the play. The next play happens. You have to be prepared. Milan were not prepared. Not prepared. In some of the biggest moments, constantly in these situations in which Milan surrender goals and have really bad performances, it's usually because of a lack of set piece defending. I mean, Dua, it's very difficult to get a win in Roma. I mean, they could score one. I don't see how Roma don't score against us. I think they're very well primed and set up for that. It's just funny to me how that works. I just don't see them coming back. That's just me. It's a really lack of confidence on my end. You're saying Pioli stays, but he only gets a winning streak. I mean, listen, Pioli is about options. It's not so much about Milan's performances. If they do decent enough, like sure he'll get kept. They'll keep him, but like still, Okay. Gabia was good. Yeah, solid enough. Sorry, guys. Trying to answer a couple of people. The ball didn't touch Tammy's hands. You guys saw it. I don't think that was a penalty. Look at Roma. They had no options either. Roma just outplayed it. I listen. Just gotta finish opportunities. Just gotta finish and create more. I would have felt better about Milan say like they didn't score, but they were creating a bunch. There was neither of that. So that's the main issue at hand here. Um, Again, not impossible to come back against Roma, but I don't love our chances. I respect Roma compared to they're not a great team, but they have a great mentality about them. The technical quality, ability up and down in that squad is lacking, but there is no denying from European performances, a Conference League win, a trip to the Europa League final, that the mentality is there, and I think that needs to be respected. Over a course of like a 38 match season, of course, I don't think Roma are all that, but when it comes to knockout football, I think Roma deserve the respect. And I think that foundation was sort of laid by Mourinho, despite the fact that they're horrendous in the league at times. They're able to pick up they're able to pick up results in these instances. Oh, but how about Atalanta? Jesus Christ, right? Liverpool going into Anfield, Gianluca Scamacca, CDK had an assist today, guys. So that will probably interest closer to that. Leverkusen end up winning. They score both of their goals past the 80th minute, so they look primed to make the semifinal. Benfica win 2-1 over to Marseille. Aubameyang is the only one who scored for Marseille, and that one, Rafael Silva and Angel Di Maria both score for Benfica as they win 2-1. So shout out to Adrian and Robona TV. In the Europa Conference League, Olympiacos beat Fenerbahce 3-2. I don't know if Rade Krunic started in that one, but I'm gonna have to look that up. Fiorentina draw their match 0-0. Aston Villa beat Lille 2-1. In Club Brugge beat Pauk. Or just go with Pauk, bro. I don't have anything else for you there. Um, dun- ugh. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that was at correct Anfield. So like this type of performance to go back home, it's listen. We know we're the one fan base to say don't feel safe with a 3-0 lead up on Liverpool. So, but again, um, yeah, the mentality of the teams come from the coach. I think it raises a very difficult and interesting decision for Milan management. I mean, seriously, you're talking about so you're not in a great spot to advance. Still very possible. I think when you face so for example, the way I'm viewing this, right? If you get eliminated against Roma in Europa League, a team that you should have eliminated, right? I think everyone kind of agrees with that, even though Roma are respectable. Milan are viewed as a team that should be advancing to the semifinals, right? Especially if they're going to a Champions League semifinal last season, finishing where they finish in Serie A and how often they play against Roma and how often they beat them. You do that, then you have some really bad performances against Inter, and you lose to them. There's just this sort of like issue that I think a lot of people are going to have that you kind of don't survive. You don't survive instances like that. And I think that is ultimately what could be Pioli's demise. And listen, finishing top four is okay, but that's the standard. Like clubs should have a standard here. And I'm all for patience and I'm all for building up a squad from the bottom up, having a sustainable project financially. And again, with just the types of players that you have in general and the type of mentality that you want. But at some point, certain things should be unacceptable, right? Like being this far behind Inter, the way some people view it is, oh, this is a historical Inter. Pioli could only do so much. They get destroyed by this team in the derby, a team that they beat, right? So for me, you win the Scudetto, okay? You make a really risky investment with Charlotte de Ketelare. That backfires on you. Inter was still poor. Napoli, absolutely phenomenal, deserved the Scudetto, but the regression after a Scudetto winning season was terrible. Then you come into this year where you're marginally better in Serie A. The finishing and performances in the Champions League were really lackluster. Coppa Italia, you had an avenue to get to the final, especially if Inter get eliminated. Lifeless. Atalanta well deserved the win in there. Um, you're in Europa League. You knock out two teams in Rennes and Slavia Prague. Um, where you get, I think, 3 games had red cards, where you get the advantage of being up, where you should have no situation where you even come close to losing. Milan look like they're not belonging in that. There were still poor performances despite being up a man. And again, you're over 10 points behind Inter. You get embarrassed 5-1 in a derby. You lost 5 straight derbies. Supercopa lost last year. There's just things where the standard should be winning, where, right, it's obvious that Milan are better than Roma. They haven't lost in 9 games against them, right? But somehow Roma come in with a mentality that all bets are off and they come in and they beat Milan, right? Where could you ever point and say that Pioli and Milan win a game that they shouldn't have won against the side that is superior to them? That's the problem. That's a mentality issue. And I think that anyone who wants to defend Pioli for the job he's done in general, I commend you. I think you're right. I think you have to respect this guy. But again, when you get into situations like this and your energy level is low and you're not here for these big type of matches, that's a reflection on the manager. That's a reflection from top to bottom, honestly, from the club. That goes from CEO down to, Kevin Zeroli, for example. But we're not blaming Zeroli here, but we're talking about the lowest of players within the squad, right? Just like a youth player coming up. It's about how everyone carries themselves. And I know they wanted Zlatan in for these sort of things, but the problem is you can't keep having this conversation about Milan being in these positions where they consistently give up these goals and opportunities to teams that shouldn't have any business beating Milan. You're spending at least 120 million in the market where you're good in the league, clearly the second best team, but so far behind Inter. And then competitions that you should have an opportunity to win, you're not coming close in. Like, you don't get far enough in Coppa Italia. A quarterfinal exit in the Europa League to Roma is pathetic. And then not to even mention, again, the Champions League group stage where you finish third. So, like, everything across the board is pathetic performances that leave a sour taste in your mouth. It's one thing when you get deep into competitions and you say, okay, we lost to a better side. But the manner in which all this stuff goes down, lack of finishing against Newcastle, Milan should have been into the next round. Terrible, right? And again, against Roma, we'll see what happens. It's not completely ruled out. It's not impossible, but I think Roma are in the driver's seat to advance to the next round. And for that, with me, I have issues with it. I think that with the talent on paper and what the expectations are and what this club is, Milan should be advancing and knocking out teams like this. The fact that they're not doing it is scary because that should not be what the bar and standard is. If Jerry, and I agree with his approach overall in how to run this club and how he has to take them from point B to point A, right? Financially, that involves the stadium and slowly building this team to turn a profit, which they did last year, is that you need to actually raise your standards in general with the play, right? Like, stuff is great off the pitch, right? Like, I'm not worried about Milan in that sense. Where you worry about this team and the club and the directions it's moving forward is games like this. That's the problem. That's the problem. And you can't be losing to Roma like this. Roma have so much to play. Roma have no excuses. They make no excuses. Like, they're a much thinner squad. They sacked their manager mid-season. Overall, they've kind of been disappointing relative to where they are, but they've rallied so well. And now they're in a position to knock out Milan. That's mentality. That's the difference. And it's funny because, like, listen, Milan are far better. They do a better job in general, and they've won a league title recently. It's just sustaining them. There's no sustainability on the pitch. They're sustainable off the pitch, but you want the sustainability and the expectations to be exceeded on the pitch. That's my problem. And I think everyone can agree with that. I think everybody's upset at that. And I understand full blame doesn't go to Pioli. I mean, today, like if we're just talking about, right, say we go about it this way. And this is not excuse making, but this is playing devil's advocate. When you have a goal that was created because of a corner kick that shouldn't have existed in the first place for offside, can't really blame the manager, right? Then Giroud missing a sitter right in front of him where he hits the crossbar, kind of hard to blame the manager for the professional player not finishing his chance, right? But where we do blame Stefano Pioli and where it's right and where it's just is the overall performance, the lackadaisicalness, just the lack of intensity, not playing through either winger. That's supposed to be very good. And again, you blame Leao for being Leao, right? Like that's on him for the poor performance. I'm not fully going at Pioli, but again, Pioli himself doesn't properly make the subs here. Like subbing who they didn't sub is a problem to me. And I think that this is going to catch up to them. And it caught up to them today because this was embarrassing. Um, hey Mats. Again, it's just listen, the offside was offside and they didn't review and redo it because there wasn't a goal scored, but I like pay attention. Stop getting upset if a call didn't go your way, right or wrong. You have to be ready for the next play. That's something that you're taught at a youth level at all sports. It's a life lesson. Something happened, it didn't go your way. Okay, we move on. Same thing with the not it was a non-existent handball. I think the only contentions I had were whatever the offside call, don't even care that much about it. But then also, like I think Loftus Cheek when he gets the ball from Dybala, I think was a little harsh for yellow. But other than that, we're talking about this is a Milan performance. This is all Milan. And again, kudos to Roma. But like I think today is more about Milan than anybody. Um, so I will say that. I will say that. So that's very frustrating. I don't think there's much left to say. I appreciate everybody who's hopped in and talked. I think it's been great. It's been a fun conversation. I've really enjoyed this. So I can't. I was just rewatching the handball, the ghost handball. I don't see this. Nah, I don't. You can't call that. So basically, what happens here? I'll get this sort of screenshot of this. All right, because it gets magnified. Um, 1 second. So I don't know how many people can see. I'll just try and DM it, okay? Uh, and once I DM it, I will try to pull it up as a picture. Apologies. I'll get it in a second for you guys, but this is not a handball. Because Tammy has his arms by his side and he's trying to jump up. I think there's a big difference here. Give me a second. I have to go to here. So here we are. That's what happens. So with Tammy jumping up like this, you can't call that. It's simply silly. I've tried to go in as much as I could, guys. I apologize. But yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think you call this a penalty. I don't think this should ever be considered as such. And unfortunately, a problem at the end of the day, for everyone else. It's really silly. Um, I think Milan fans and footy fans in general have this defense mechanism where something doesn't go their way in a match and they see like suspicious calls that they feel the need to think that they were robbed or like these calls are incorrect, rather than holding the accountability for the players that didn't step up. Olivier Giroud didn't finish his chance. That's the story here. There's nothing else left to say. And I think anything else discussed as such is an excuse, because things are going to go your way and they're going to go against you. To me, that's the problem. Why? What's wrong with my screen, JC? Or are you just saying for that the screenshot? Who is a world class player? Pascal. What do you mean? What do you mean, brother? Gabia too. Yeah, it's Ryan. You're 100% right. It's just I mentioned it. I was like 25-yard shot. What are we doing here, brother? You know, what are we doing here? What's that? What's that? I'm not sure. Not really sure. But yeah, we're approaching 40 minutes here. There's been around 40 to 50 of you this entire time. I just want to say thank you again. Tune into the video I did with Santangelo, just basically going over everything that happened against Lecce, previewing for this match. We'll see if we can do something tomorrow to talk about today's game and then probably the look ahead to Sassuolo. But again, we greatly appreciate all of you. Again, go back and rewatch the live stream if you haven't. Again, hopefully can get more people for this. I'm not going to be able to do weekend performance reviews, but unfortunately, that's where I'm at right now. So I can only do these Europa League ones. But yeah. Other than that, guys, appreciate you so much, and we'll take care.